This is the legend of legends. Elvis breathes the same air-conditioned casino smoke that stills these neon palaces like a tomb. Vampires wear gold, and their eyelashes grow black and long like spider legs. They drink from the fountains of vacationers, light up buttons under their tense fingers, chasing the rush of coins. And the foundation on which the strip was built houses the mafia. Cold, calculated, in tracksuits and mirrored sunglasses, they make sure the city stands in the hot sand. Vegas is made for vampires. The tunnels connecting the casinos create an ideal landscape where the light of the sun never penetrates the tinted windows, and it is forever night. We haven't left the floors since they were built, and we never will. We swim in the arteries of the lucky, the desperate. We float in the infrastructure easily, knowing the allure of the glittering oasis will never dry up. This is a legend hidden inside a forgotten hotel room tower, a gem put in the closet safe and left to sparkle in the darkness. This is a legend about me and my twin sister, good and evil, comedy and tragedy, ultimate gain and ultimate loss, betrayal, addiction, truth. This is the legend of the Vegas Vamps. Las Vegas is a flashy town, and we like it flashy, but we're from the old world, and we have Italian sensibilities, and we like to stay in the most grand casinos, and that's where we held our conference, high above the strip. My identical twin sister Gwen, our only differences are that I have a beauty mark on my right cheek and she does not. She lacks faith where mine does not waver, and I was born a few minutes before her, therefore my zodiac sign is a Taurus, where Gwen is a Gemini. And these twins within a single twin rode on a hungry snake inside of her, creating a strange polar opposite undertone, a secret mask she altered depending on her objective. Our father, Elvis, was the head of the 5 Vegas vampire families. Uncle Salvo collected crypto and Mickey Mouse. Uncle Rico, who sold haunted ventriloquist dummies. The lovely and ever-charming Pixie Stick, who owned a sugar factory and collected muscle cars. And finally, Big Top, an expert at killing for over 900 years. My name is Cleo. While Gwen was gambling, I was negotiating deals that helped secure the expansion of our father's empire. The crown of thorns is a magical relic passed down from biblical times, and its power is obtained from being crowned by a believer, released only through faith in the Son, the Holy Trinity, the Father, Elvis, the Son, the crown, and the Holy Ghost, the Spirit inside with allegiance to God to work in unity, to anchor the heavens to the earth, this little sparkling dot of sin on a map they call Vegas. The light from that upstairs conference casino room shone bright the night my father passed the crown to me, signifying his retirement and purposeful disappearance deep into the pharmaceutical industry, spending the rest of his time as a vampire taking it easy on his throne in the back of a drugstore hidden in the basement of Circus Circus. Gwen was swift. She moved so fast that no one ever noticed the snake beside them, reaching out to lick their neck, bite the apple of their cheek. It was already too late by the time the last air blew from their lungs across the desert sand, and all trace of her victim was gone. I'd heard the legend of the Crown of Thorns in beer-soaked dives under twinkling neon, but I'd never seen it with my own blue eyes. I don't know if Gwen had heard the legend of the Crown of Thorns. What I do know is that her snake uncoiled from the dark pit inside of her that night and struck with such quick force that she was never detected. Deception is a game like any other, and Gwen played high. My beauty mark, the only way to tell us apart, and the crown of thorns were her new costume, along with my signature colors, red, pink, the color of blood, and Valentine's hearts, roses. The crown came with its perks, and Gwen wasted no time. She called Vlad for a loan worth half the chips in Nevada. Vlad, very rich and very strong. Born in the year 1953 in Naples, Italy. He spent his nights at the gym lifting weights and mixed protein powder into the blood he drank from the most desperate gamblers. He said they were sweeter. He could taste the pain and the pleasure in his pre-workout. His idol was Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he had 10 Arnold tattoos on different parts of his muscular body. Vlad owned 79 tracksuits, all black. He owned 185 wife beaters and 346 gold chains. He had 502 pistols and 76 shotguns, though he didn't like using those much on the account of the kickback hurt his sore muscles from breaking PRs at the gym the night before. Vlad laughed to himself when he made loans, because besides being a gym bro, he was also a numbers man, and he knew the odds of the loan to a degenerate gambler were always in his favor. He had so many gold chains because of this. But Gwen didn't care. To drink from the fountain of wealth, one must have a way of replenishment. Gwen's plan was to gamble the money to multiply it. She never liked to work. She liked being high, and when she was winning, she was high. She imagined all the things her winnings would bring her. She would soon encrust the crown of thorns with gemstones, rubies bright red, emeralds deep green and as big as rose leaves, sapphires more blue than all the tears she'd ever cried over the time she'd lost before, because this time she wasn't going to lose. Gwen's gambling addiction could be compared to loving a cute baby snake. She focused all of her energy and resources into growing it, and it seemed harmless at first. It gave her a rush, an identity, a purpose. But soon enough, the snake got too big, and its objective was a total possession of the mind. Gwen tried to hide her snake. She didn't want people to know that the thing she once controlled now controlled her. But each scale flashed bright like a coin, green like a dollar bill, only to burn fast and go black. Soon she was a walking black snake of the vast casino floors, and she would fight for it, though it was destroying her, because at a certain point, nothing else matters but the snake. everything else just gets in the way. Addiction is a dense fog that turns the casinos into a smoky haze. Blinking through the lights of the slots, Lady Luck can be heard to whisper, "You'll never remember the money you lost, but you'll always remember when you win." Roll the dice, listen to them clink, and as the aces and diamonds and hearts and spades dance like flashing stars in this place where time does not exist, where the light of day or night is unseen, sun and moon rising and setting on a carpeted oasis of one-armed bandits, give yourself to me, give your soul to Lady Luck, and let me lull you. Vampires don't sleep. We have no need for it. All we require is blood, and perched on a chair on the casino floor, we swim in a sea of it, in neat little packages for whenever we need a snack. But Gwen stopped paying attention to that hunger when the snake took over. She'd sit for days unmoving from a machine, and soon she had lost everything. Gwen, the legend of the anorexic vampire whose obsession with placing bets filled up the snake in her stomach that sucked her dry. Gwen should know that bargaining with Vlad was out of the question, because Vlad didn't make deals. Instead, Vlad brought backup in the form of a cold-blooded assassin in a pink tracksuit. A contract killer who'd looked into the eyes of their victims through Britney-era shades, smiled and pulled the trigger. This time when Vlad came to the door, he brought big talk. I awoke in a forgotten motel room, and from the moment my eyes opened, all I knew was that everything was just slightly off, though I couldn't discern why. The air was heavier, the fabrics thinner, colors shifted from another spectrum, and the sun changes in my surroundings were the only thing I could process. But after a moment, I realized that on top of awakening in this new world, I couldn't remember from which world I'd fallen asleep. But I could remember Palermo. Opening the paper bag and finding the cannolis brought back afternoons of the pastries the nuns of St. Catherine of Alexandria baked. The giant marble cathedral filling up with the smell of creams and fresh bread from the ovens down the cloister halls by the garden. The ghosts who haunted the miniature jewel-encrusted statues in the upstairs chapels. The view of the ocean from the rooftop, but this was only at night, under millions of stars, only at night. And that's when my true identity came back to me. In Sicily long ago, I had become a vampire. Everything else was still uncertain, but at least I now knew what I was. As for the rest, I knew the answers waited for me outside the motel door. If Italy were the last place I could remember, then perhaps I'd never left. Was I now in the north? And though these skies were painted to look like the pink and blue gelato sunsets, were these canals real? And did their black waters lead to the black ocean beyond? As I walked the mazes under these imitation skies, I began to notice differences in this version of home. Where were the cobblestones? And the old men selling fresh fruit and fish from little carts? I'd found some blood-filled gummy bears in a fluorescent storefront, and some tourists to drink in a marble and gold bar. And the masks remained as if in plague time, but they were thinner and covered more sadness than I'd ever seen. And the money machines, with flashing lights much brighter than the candles lit in churches upon the altars, casting a shadow of a fresh lily on the Madonna's cheek. I walked for days and I drank, and I began to remember who I had been before I slept, that this world was not a dream of the past, but somehow a portal to the future. I wasn't in Italy. This wasn't 1523, or the last time I could finally remember, 1963. I remembered my Vegas. I remembered the Holy Trinity. And that's when I saw her, my twin. The crown of thorns. The Holy Spirit. My father. I had to call my father. I told Dad everything. And he understood. Gwen received a call from our father, promising a bailout and extra cash. And although Gwen was hesitant to see her father, a man she'd avoided for almost 60 years, she was also desperate, so she went. To kill a Vegas vampire, all 5 families have to be in agreement. But Gwen didn't know this. She left me to die in a motel room, forgot all about me. And yet, I had risen from the dead. And the snake had entered the snake pit. When a vampire dies, they turn back into the archetype, for this mask is our truest form. Skin death white, doll-eye black hair, mouth sharp as a snake bite. And Gwen's snake died forever that day. Her two twins, the double sides of her coin, coiled up beside the snake and closed their eyes forever, as she had tried to do to mine. But her poison potion, like her money, had failed her, and Big Top solutions were always permanent. Reunited with the crown and my father, I stepped again into the Holy Trinity in the city of sin.